Hello, welcome to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to be doing the July new moon reading for the sign of Capricorn. We're going to get right into it, Capricorn, with your Wild Unknown Oracle Spirit card. So new moon readings are all about new beginnings, changes, right, in life, new stages, a new parts, right? When you you may move somewhere, right? You may have a new relationship. You may change jobs. You may change careers, right? It can also be that period of when you're tying up loose ends, when you're closing off old karma, finishing cycles, and preparing for something new to come in, right? So preparing to sow the seeds and sow the seeds. So if that is you right now, Capricorn, then something in this reading may resonate with you. This is not necessarily about relationships. It could be about career or anything, really, family, any kind of issue in your life that is taking a turn for the new or different, right? Another stage, another level. Right, so let's see what animal spirit is walking with you over this next new moon to new moon period, 28-day cycle. For our lovely Capricorn, show me. Alright, Capricorn. Swan. So beautiful. Swan energy. Alright, so Swan energy is water energy, of course. Beautiful water energy. Swans made for life. It's like love. It's all about love when it comes with the swan. Very elegant, beautiful, right? Very strong creatures. Graceful, right? So it's living your life with grace. Certainly talking about love, right? It certainly talks about bringing in love, but more than anything, it's just kind of like being at a point in your life where you're feeling very graceful, you're feeling very sensitive, you know, sensitive, mystical sensitive. You're picking up on subtle energies. You feel refined, right? You feel like a refined kind of power. You know, you almost feel like that kind of, you know, when you're walking down the street and you have that refined kind of sense of self, right? When you feel sexy, but you don't feel over the top, you know, you feel strong sexy, you feel confident. You feel like you can face anything. You feel like you notice everything, you see everything, you understand everything, you're aware, you're very conscious and aware. You feel extremely creative, right? So the swan represents also a heightened creativity, certainly when it comes to certain mythologies, right? In Hindu, there's a goddess, Saraswati, which is associated with the swan, and that's she's the embodiment of language, creativity, and artistry, right? So this is what we're talking about, and you can see that with the swan, with their kind of like serene, graceful kind of steadiness, right? When they're along the water, but there is a power there with swans, isn't there? There's a distinct power, a forward kind of motion. So it's beautiful, it's strong, it's potent. It can also bring in love, right? Now the love that swans bring in is kind of very determined, committed, right? It's the mating for life. So again, with all of that artistry and sensitivity, the way you're looking at your relationships, like if you do tie yourself down or if you get involved with anyone, it's almost like all or nothing for you, Capricorn, right? And so that's the other side of it, certainly when it comes to relationships. But we won't really know everything until we get your cards out. More importantly, right now, you certainly feel a very refined, a very kind of heightened sense of awareness and spirituality. You're moving through life with a certain sense of grace. You know, it's the best way I can put it, right? Like a grace in all things. Even adversity. When you're coming up against adversity, you're able to face it in a very kind of elegant manner, creative manner, you know. It's quite, it's beautiful energy. It's the kind of energy that, say, for instance, you're dealing with a meeting. Say you're in a meeting, you're dealing with even a business meeting, and you're dealing with people who have a lot of money and they want to push you around, you know, but you kind of just present yourself in this very kind of powerful, confident way, you know, and the way you speak is very, you know, you're creative. You don't need to say a lot of words. What you say is, it may just be a few words, but it instantly makes everyone stop and take pause and give you the respect that you know you deserve. Do you see what I mean? It's that kind of like energy, you know, and that comes from a deep sense of self-esteem and confidence. Certainly you've accomplished a lot of things recently to kind of bring that energy on. Show me what's up with Capricorn for this new moon period. Show me. Alright, let's get your cards out. Interesting. Alright. I'm going to take each card in turn, of course. If you're a regular, you know what the drill is. We have the Deviant Moon deck that we're using. My lunar readings are always using this deck. And we're going to see in turn, one by one, we're going to look at the cards and unfold this story that is here for you today for July new moon period. All right, Capricorn, in the center you have, yes, 2 of Pentacles and 9 of Swords. Bottom of the deck you have Queen of Pentacles. There we go. Queen of Pentacles. Beautiful. Queen of Pentacles is certainly the one who's gone through a lot, right? She's worked for her garden. She's worked for her money, right? She's oftentimes come from nothing and really built herself up. She's done it by herself. She treats her endeavors like children. You see the children, the little figures around her, right? She treats her accomplishments, her business, whatever it is that she's cultivated, that she's worked for, she's nurtured it as if it's a child. You know, whether it be her career or her business or whatever it is that she's done in her life to make her money and her abundance, right? She's dedicated from the heart to it. You know, she's put blood, sweat, and tears into it, right? And so it's very, you know, her livelihood, what she does for her livelihood is also what she loves to do and she feels very passionate about. These are people who can be, you know, this could be someone who's worked their way up from nothing to being a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, a businessman, a businesswoman, a business owner, a manager even, right? Working up to being a manager, even if a manager in a coffee shop, it doesn't matter. But you may have worked your way up to that by your own steam, right? And you've really been a hard worker, very virtuous about it, and very devoted. So here in the center, yeah, we're talking about 2 of Pentacles, talking about trying to juggle 2 sides, 2 different jobs. You want to do this job and you want to do that job. You're not really sure where you want to go, right? Could be some of your recent accomplishments are having you feel very strong and very confident. But with this swan energy and this increased kind of like spiritual power and awareness that's come on, it could be that now you're thinking about 2 different ways to make your money. You're thinking about 2 different types of projects. And right now you're juggling. You're wondering if you can have both in your life, right? You don't want to give one or the other up. 2 is very much about duality and balance. So it's not about making a decision, but it's mostly about coming up with a balance for the 2 sides, right? Could be that part of you wants to engage in more spiritual activity while the other side of you needs to engage in more commercial activity to bring in the money. And you're certainly trying to balance them both. But covering it, you do have some anxiety and some worries, right? You're worried. I think you're worried about making the wrong decisions right now. You're worried about going the wrong way. You don't want to lose opportunities. It's as if you're kind of like wanting to make the perfect decision and you're not sure how. Certainly with juggling these 2 pentacles, having a 9 of Swords is absolutely like about waking up at night and, you know, where am I going? What am I doing? I don't want to lose one. I want them both. I want everything in my life. You know, you worry that if you do have to choose or if you do end up only picking one, you're not sure which one, if you're going to pick the right one. So you have a little lack of self-confidence, but of course, the highest card in the deck for self-confidence is the High Priestess, and she always shows up when you need true self-confidence. Interestingly enough, the High Priestess will only show up as well when you really, really, truly, truly desire her assistance. when you desire this energy to come into you, for you to cultivate the high priestess energy in yourself, it will only happen when you truly, truly commit yourself to it. And swan energy is a commitment to that. You know, when you have the swan animal spirit with you, and that's the spirit that you're embodying, then you are, you know, your commitment to increase your spiritual side is real and true, right? It's binding, you know, it's not frivolous, it's meant. And so in comes the high priestess, right? 2, high priestess, the other 2 is 12, it's the hanged man. You can see both characters are characters that are very stubborn. And so the hanged man will move when he decides, but the high priestess will come in when she sees that you've made the requested, you know, the requisite tribute, the requisite prostrations, the requisite kind of homage, commitment, right? And so what I mean by that is that your internal commitment, right, it's like really wanting her. You know, sometimes people say, oh, you know, I want to get more spiritual, but it's like the real commitment isn't quite there. And you know what I'm talking about what I mean by that, right? And so certainly with your anxiety, the highest card for self-confidence being the high priestess, because the high priestess trusts her intuition 100%. When you trust your intuition 100%, you trust your inner voice, that's the highest level of self-confidence. You know that you can always handle any situation because your inner voice, you know you're tapped into your inner voice, you trust your inner voice, and you know it's not going to lead you astray. And so that is the highest kind of exaltation of self-confidence, right? And so that's what she's talking about. Get into your intuition, listen to your inner voice, learn to listen to your inner voice. You're certainly coming to a period, to the end of a very long period. It's been a long road for you, Capricorn. It's been a lot of little battles, a lot of little wounds along the way, certainly in relationships with others, right? Certainly in interacting with others. And here you're coming to the end of it, Ten of Swords. Yeah, also Ten of Swords is the beginning of something new too. In it there is. And Ten of Swords is also the death of the old. You're just not the same person. You may find yourself going back to certain scenarios where you thought you would be happy, going back to that scenario and kind of, I want to say, you know, you're at this long road, right? So now it's like sometimes you go back, sometimes we go back to those that we met along the road, right? Once the road is finished, once we've gotten to that 10, right? Thinking that we'll have some kind of satisfaction in going back and showing them all that we've accomplished. But the other side of Ten of Swords is that there's an absolute death of the old you. And so oftentimes what happens is, and this is, I speak about this often with the 6 cards too, you realize that it doesn't matter, because it mattered to the person you were then and not the person you are now that you've completed the journey. And so you realize that all of the things you've held on to before in terms of like vindication, right? Getting your own back, or, getting your proof that you were right, or, proving somebody else wrong. These are some of the things that can spur us on, right? And that's okay. Wherever your motivation comes, it's okay. It's just as long as you get motivated to work hard and to do something, right? But oftentimes that struggle, that path, that journey changes us so completely that initial, what spurred us on initially is of no more consequence to us. And so you're quite ready to start a whole new, different life with the new you, certainly with a higher spiritual center. Ace of Wands, you've had some inspiration come in recently. An idea, could be from a friend, could be just you coming up with ideas. Ace of Wands is high creativity, inspiration, it's like something fresh and new is coming. Could be a new relationship, most recently coming into you. Something certainly that you want to go forward with and nurture. Wow, this is all about new beginnings. Now you got Ace of Pentacles too. So new relationship, new passion, new abundance, new money, new job, start of a career, start of a new job, new company, change of a career, whatever it is, it's bringing in a lot of abundance. And so here, this Ace of Wands is certainly a new source of creativity and inspiration. It could be a relationship. You may have found your muse, right? If you're an artist, it could be that you found your muse, you found your one, your person that makes you feel, you know, so passionate, right? Certainly coming to the end of swords, you're ready for something new. Absolutely. Right? And Six of Swords. So there, this is what I'm talking about. Remember earlier I said about sixes, right? So I talk about this with sixes as well. What I mean with the Ten of Swords, right? When you go through that journey, you're not the same person anymore. So of course, everything that you used to think was important oftentimes is not so important anymore. So here you are with the Six of Swords. You've made a decision now to move towards harmony. Right? After you've come out of this, you're now a different person. You have these new opportunities for love, creativity, and money to come in. And you are deciding these, right? How you go forward with these with your conscientious decision to move forward in harmony. That means you want your relationships to be harmonious. You're no longer willing to keep fighting. Six of Swords talks about the decision to depart from negative energy, to depart from our usual set of behaviors or modus operandi, or our usual kind of way of interacting with people that perhaps up until now, if any of those ways have caused friction or tension or negativity or has not brought you what you want, Six of Swords talks about a commitment to leave from that, depart from those type of interactions and relationships, and make a commitment of moving towards relationships that are more harmonious. And making that commitment in yourself as well to do the work. Because remember, in your subconscious, you have the High Priestess who's telling you now that, yes, you have everything that you need. Just listen to your heart. Listen to your intuition. It will guide you. Now, if you trust her, right? And this is why it's hard to call upon her, because what she asks for you to do is to trust in her, which means trusting in yourself. Don't disappoint her, right? Trust in yourself. You know, the High Priestess, I often see her as like, ugh, you know, she gets quite impatient. You know, she can be impatient. She's the High Priestess. She's been, you know, she sees the before, the here, and the after, and she requires a lot. She's a stern teacher. Right? She's a priestess, a high priestess. They're not known for being super sweet, right? They're known for being stern and tough, right? And glorious, right? And so she's asking you to be the same. Right? And so if you trust in her, then you will make the right decisions to accomplish this, which is what your goal is in your conscious mind, which is to have more harmonious relationships, the type of relationships that you truly now desire, now that you've killed the old you and decided to move away from discord and arguments. The Fool is showing up. Wow. This is a big change for you, Capricorn. You are starting a whole new life. The Fool comes in always when the Fool shows up. The Fool is always you, the quant, the person that you're reading for, showing up in their own reading. The Fool is irrespective of sign. It doesn't matter what sign you are. The Fool is always you showing up in your reading and letting you know that your life is about to take a major turn, a preordained turn oftentimes, and to be conscious now. Right? And in fact, it's more of an admonishment not to be a fool. Not to just skip through life with your eyes shut, but to be eyes wide open and aware right now, because what's going to happen right now is of utmost importance. The change is very important. The shift is important. To be conscious during the shift is very important, right? It sows seeds for learning later on, right? But only if you're conscious. If you're not conscious and paying attention to what's happening around you now that you're going through this great transformation and change, you will lose the benefit of the wisdom that will come from all of this. So, sowing seeds now to learn from this scenario, to increase your self-esteem later on, to look back and have reaffirmation, right? By being aware now, you find out later that you get reaffirmation of everything that you trusted in the High Priestess. And so sometimes there's a reason for you to pay attention. You may not know it now. You only find out later what that reason is. And the Fool shows up whenever that happens. Whenever we're supposed to pay attention, we may not know just yet why now. And of course, that's the leap of faith. We may not know why now, but we will know later why it was important to pay attention. We will learn the lesson that we were intended to learn. but only by being conscious right now and everything that's going on. Eight of Pentacles, yeah, you're all about work. You're all about putting in the boundaries that are necessary, the restrictions that are necessary to now do your craft, to perfect your craft. Eight is all about boundaries, and I think that you learn now how to put boundaries in place so that people don't take your time and your energy away in the wrong way, right? So you can truly have the freedom, the creative freedom, right? Here of Ace of Wands, the creative freedom to master your craft according to your plans and your specs and how you want it done. This person is a handcrafter. So you can understand that to create pentacles that look almost exactly the same requires a high level of mastery, of craftsmanship. Oftentimes people mistakenly say that eight of Pentacles is about boredom and being bored in your job, but in fact it's about putting in, because 8 is the number, remember 8 in Major Arcana is the Leo card, which is strength. So knowing your strengths and weaknesses and playing to them properly, putting in restrictions that you need to make sure that you do the work in a focused manner, which is basically discipline. You know, those restrictions equal discipline. Doing all of those things allows you to focus and master your craft. That's what this individual is trying to do. A handcrafter is mastering his craft. You know, certainly when he's making perfect pentacles one after the other. You know, that's like someone who's blowing glass, you know, and making perfect, you know, vases, you know, one after the next that all look, you know, that are perfect. By hand, it's almost impossible, but it can be done if you're a good artist. And so this is all about the restrictions that are necessary, the discipline that is necessary to perfect your craft, and you feel like that very much, certainly with this burst of creativity coming in. And as a result of all of this, you get your Wheel of Fortune. Fortunate comes in, fortunate opportunities come in, divine opportunities, right? Ace of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, right? The Fool showing up. This can be nothing but good, positive, beautiful energy, and certainly a turn towards a life that is much more in line with your spiritual compass, although up until now that may not have been what it was intended to be or what you thought it would be. All as a result of the ending of this long road that you've now gone down. But the death of this old you and the rebirth of the new you, Capricorn, has really lent itself to this entire shift towards a higher spirituality, bringing in these beautiful opportunities for you. Beautiful. I'm going to call it. This is your reading for July, new moon time. This is a beautiful time of new beginnings. You've got two aces. I mean, I don't know what else to say. They're absolutely wonderful. If this resonates with you, Capricorn, sound off below. Let me know in the comments how you feel. If you'd like to get a private reading, just follow that link at the bottom of your screen. But for right now, Capricorns, I love you. Have a wonderful new moon period. I'll see you next month. Bye-bye.